Hello everybody! Unfortunately, from time to time, your Pi-hole SSL certificate expires. This is Stef from Samayas and welcome to my channel. Well, we all know time flies, right? If you're a tech nerd and on one side you have an internal certification authority and on the other side you're running one or more Pi-holes internally, well, of course, it's running on its own SSL certificate, right? But then, sooner or later, depending on the TTL of your SSL certificate, it'll expire and you'll need to replace it with a new certificate. But then, sooner or later, depending on the expiry of your certificate, you need to replace that certificate with a new one. Let's dig in. When we surf to a specific website, we all know this dreaded message, of course. And depending on the browser, that might be slightly different. But in essence, it's telling you that the site you're going through has a certificate issue. And you can go back and simply cancel your action, or you can go to the advanced to see what the issue is and potentially proceed. And so, once we open up the details, well, we can view the certificate, but the basic error message is that our current certificate has expired. We see the time until what the certificate was still valid, we see the current time, and so it has expired. And the short-term solution, of course, is to proceed if we absolutely must access our website. Long-term, we of course have to replace our certificate with a new and valid certificate. Now this phase is specific for everybody. I am using an Active Directory certification store, and in there I've already created a certificate specifically for my Pi-hole. And out of the box, once you do that through the website or PowerShell, in the end you end up with a PFX file which contains the public key, private key and is password protected. However, Pi-hole is running on Ubuntu and it needs the private key in text, the public key in text and the root certificate in text. And the easiest way to accomplish that is to go to the internet and to download OpenSSL and all accompanying libraries and then to execute a number of commands. And for simplicity, and since I need that on multiple occasions, I simply created a transform.cmd file, which will call my OpenSSL certificate with my PFX file. So if we look inside, it's quite easy. The first line will extract our PEM specifically from our PFX. The second will extract our certificate from our PFX. And the third will convert our PEM to a key file. And so when I execute my transform, the first command will call OpenSSL pkcs12, where as an in I specify my PFX file, I don't want certificate node, and I want my PEM. And so I'll simply execute this. The moment I exported my certificate to PFX, it requested me for a password for that PFX. And this is the password I need to give again to be able to access my PFX. So now, when I enter the password the first time correctly, I receive MAC verified OK. And as we can see, it already created our PEM file with 2K. Now the second is almost the same. Again, we call OpenSSL pkcs12 with the PFX, no keys, and this time we want to extract the certificate, but we still need to specify the password. And now our second is OK, and the third we are still calling OpenSSL, but this time we are transforming our PEM to a key file, and for that we don't need a password anymore. And now our end result is very easy. We have a key file, we have a PEM file, and we have a SAR file. Now if I double click on my SAR file, well, it shows me my Pi-hole certificate, which is valid. If I go into certification chain, I have my root certificate and I have my Pi-hole certificate. If I now open that SAR file in a notepad, we have some header tags, we have our certificate, we have again some header tags, and then finally we have our root certificate. If we open up the SAR file, first we have some header information, we have our certificate, we have again some header information, and finally we have our root certificate. And now, if we compare the difference between the key and the PEM, the key only contains the private key, while the PEM contains a private key, but again, some header information. And now that we have extracted our PEM, our key and our SAR from our pfix, but in your scenario you might immediately obtain the PEM and the CERF files from your certification authority, the easiest way now is to prepare the 3 files that we need for Pi-hole. And for that, I created 3 new files. First, tls_ca.crt, next tls.crt, and finally tls.pem. The first file, tls_ca.crt, is your file that will contain your root certificate and potentially any intermediate certificate. In this scenario, I only have a root certificate and no intermediary certificate. And so I go to my exported CERF file for my Pi-hole. I go down and I simply need to copy my root certificate to my tls_ca.crt file. Step 1. The second file is my tls.crt file. And this file needs to contain my public certificate. And so I go again to my Pi-hole.CERF file, and this time I need to select my first certificate and copy that over to my tls.CERF file. Step 2. And finally, my tls.pem file is a little bit more complicated. It needs to include my private key and my public key. So first, I go to my Pi-hole PEM file and I simply copy over my private key to my tls.pem file. And then second, I need to go to my Pi-hole.CERF file, which contains my public key and my root certificate. And I need to copy over my public key, again, just under the private key file, my public key file. And step 3 is done. And so now I started up my WinSCP tool to copy over my locally created TLS files to my Pi-hole. You can use whatever tool you want to copy them over to a temporary directory. Copying them over directly to the correct folder doesn't work because of write. So I'll simply copy over those files to my home directory and my copy operation is done. And so I've put it into my Pi-hole, and if I do a simple ls, well, in my home directory, my 3 files tls.crt, tls.pem, and tls_ca.crt are there. Now those 3 files need to be copied over to my Pi-hole configuration. So let's first have a look, and we'll first cd into the Pi-hole directory. If I do again ls-l, I have my tls.crt, my tls.pem, and my tls.ca.crt. And in order to copy them over, what I need to do, I need to copy over using sudo. And so I'll simply call sudo cp/home/home directory tls star to the local directory. And since the first time I'm using sudo, it is of course again requesting my password. And now my files are copied over and everything is ready. And so the last thing we need to do is we need to either restart our Pi-hole with reboot, or we need to restart the Pi-hole FTL service. And I'll choose the latter, and for that I call sudo systemctl restart Pi-hole-FTL service. And now my service is up and running again. And then the end result is that again my Pi-hole is working correctly with an SSL certificate. Now, if for whatever reason you still made a typo or an error somewhere, the first thing you can do is call a sudo system control status Pi-hole-FTL no pager, and that gives you an overview if at some point there's an error and whether or not your service is running, etc. The second command you can run is a sudo tail on your var log Pi-hole webserver.log and see if at some point you have an issue with your SSL certificate. And of course, based on those results, either everything is working correctly, or as you can see, at some point I had an issue, error initializing SSL context, and so then you know you have something to correct. And if somehow there's an error, you can also run the OpenSSL command directly on your PEM file, and if we call a sudo OpenSSL x509 on our tls.pem, well, if everything works fine, our complete details from our PEM is extracted. We can do the same thing on our CRT file, and again, it'll extract the same thing on our tls.crt. And finally, we can do the same thing on our root certificate. And here again, if everything is fine, it simply returns what is needed. If somehow there's an error, well, It already tells you that you'll have an invalid certificate or that it cannot read any of those files. Well, for an internal certificates, of course, you'll take long-lived certificate. 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 5 years. Personally, I chose 2. But even then, you need to replace them, right? And that's always a burden. If you guys enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell sign. Or leave a comment down below.